What is up, guys? We are officially live. This time it's going to work because I got my phone and found the adapter for my headphones, and it's a whole thing. I've invited Gray to join the thing. He wants to join. Gray, you probably will need headphones this time, or else we'll have feedback. But I'm going to bring you in before this turns off, and we should be good to go.
Am I with you?
Yes. Do you have headphones? You definitely need them.
Okay, let me go get them real quick.
Okay.
Stay right here.
I'll check. Actually, I won't do a lot of echo.
Okay, I'm back.
Perfect. Okay, yeah. I couldn't really. Anytime I made any noise, it sounded, especially in my ear, like it doubled and echoed, and I sniffled once, and I thought I caused an earthquake.
Yeah. I love how sorry to everyone watching, I have all these blankets over me.
I should go sit on the couch.
My power bill was so high this past month that we are trying not to run our heater at all now.
I like it to be cold in the house, so.
I mean, I do too, but whenever it's our house doesn't have any insulation, it's 62 degrees in here, then it's ugh. But yeah.
Well, we're here. No one's watching us live yet. We had an audience, and then everything fell apart.
Well, they'll come back.
Yeah, they'll come back first, or they'll watch us after. It's late anyway. It's 10:20 in the evening here on the East Coast. Gray is in Tuscaloosa, in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? Okay.
No, you're right.
On Central Time. And we're here to talk about the finale. It's coming up of Big Brother Hometown Season 3.
Is it tomorrow?
It will be officially Sunday. I was hoping to do everything live through Facebook, like the jury questioning and maybe even the votes and stuff like that. I don't know if that's going to happen with my technology debacle tonight, but I'm going to try and figure it out tomorrow so that we can do it Sunday, where everyone can watch the jury question our final two, whoever those two are, and they'll hear at least the revealing of the votes live on my Facebook. That will be on my Facebook, so that way the jury and everyone can watch everything. So that won't just be here on the viewing party.
Yeah.
So what a weird week in this game it's been.
Yeah.
People have made questionable decisions. We have a final three that I
never expected.
Not in my wildest dreams that I come into this game and would have told you the final three. Max maybe, but Trey and Abby, how they got here is, well, it's a testament to their game to an extent.
To an extent, but I didn't even expect either of them to make it to the jury. Honestly, just because not saying that that's their game, that their game is bad. I mean, Trey's maybe a little bit, but I just figured that since they were returning players, at the beginning, I predicted oh, these returning players, the rest of the house is gonna go against them at the beginning, and it's gonna be the first three out of the game.
Well, so here's the thing, and it's probably not as much of a true thing here because this isn't national. These people, this isn't on television, stuff like that. But at least, fun fact, you may not realize this, especially as we head to Survivor 38. At least in Survivor, and I know it's happened on Big Brother a lot as well, but every time in Survivor that there's a season of mixed new and returning players, every single time
A returner is one.
a returner has made it to the final tribal council.
Yeah. Okay.
Every time. They haven't won every time.
I'm thinking of people like Tyson, Boston Rob,
Cochran. When Denise won, Scoopin was in the final tribal council. Back in Guatemala, it happened with Stephanie LaGrossa. She made it. Coach.
Coach.
There's
Wow.
at least every single time. which is
That's
wild.
crazy. You would think that, like, I don't know. I'm just thinking to myself right now, like, those are going to be the first people I want to target, I think,
Right.
because they have experience.
So I'm curious, and not to talk about Survivor, but going into Survivor 38, we have 4 returning players with all newbies. Is it going to happen again?
Probably, honestly.
Probably. Like,
And I don't hate it. I don't
yeah,
hate it. I want Aubrey to
honestly,
win,
man,
but
Aubrey, I love Aubrey, and like I am stunned that she is playing again,
me too.
because I've listened to her talk about the game, and she like, especially in Game Changers, she felt like she went through a lot. It was really hard, and like
Yeah.
maybe her Survivor career was over. But more power to her. I mean, if it was me and they were calling me for my third time, how could I say no?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, why not go ahead and be a legend? Like,
Right.
go ahead and make it to that final tribal again and surpass like 100 days on the island and make your way like up in the
She
ranks,
could
you
get
know?
very close to be our next 100-day person because she made it obviously all 39 days in Korong, and then she was like final 5 in Game
She
Changer.
got
So,
fifth in Game Changer, so that's probably like 35 days.
hmm
So if she makes it to the merge this season, which I anticipate she will, she'll hit 100 days.
and with this new extinction twist, she could stay out there all 39 days if she wants.
Yeah,
Apparently.
I'm eager to see. I still don't understand that, so I'm eager to see.
Yeah, I understand what they've told us, but I don't understand what they haven't told us because they're keeping a lot of it a secret,
Yeah,
obviously. So anyway,
yeah.
not to derail off into Survivor Land, but these final 3, we kind of want to break down all of their games, talk about jury scenarios,
Hmm.
final 2 scenarios, just like what we anticipate. We talk about the season as a whole. We can talk about things that have happened since the last time we talked or the last time that I've been on one of these, because there's been a lot of things and a lot of moves that have. At a certain point, we had round after round where each, and this is the nature of the game, but like it felt like monumental moments that drastically shifted the trajectory of the game. And we can talk and break down everyone's stupidity,
Oh yeah,
frankly,
please.
from start to finish. But let's start with the final 3 because that's kind of what's important now. If just like you had to, if you had to pick right now, not knowing who's winning HOHs or anything, because really all that's still underway. Who's winning?
I think it's Max. Like, I don't. So like, Abby has played a really great game. Abby surrounded herself with people at the beginning who were like stronger, like Shields, maybe, like Melody. Um, and so Abby's played a good game. She peaked when she needed to peak. She's had great relationships across the house. Um, but I almost feel like she peaked a little bit too late. She has 2 comp wins right now. She could get more, like I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
like for her specifically, it's like where do we draw the line between playing a smart game and shielding yourself with like strong people and being the goat that you take to the
Mm-hmm.
end.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know that there are some people who are like really strongly behind Abby, and I love Abby. We played together our season. We worked together for a couple weeks, couple rounds. I think that she's great, and I think that she's great at this game. She's made the jury at least twice now, like 2 for 2 on that. That's a testament to how great she is at forming relationships with people. But I mean, I just think that that line between like making a big move and doing something extraordinary, um, and like being like shielding yourself with others and then like being the goat, like I don't see much of a difference there. Like what has she done, you know? Whereas whenever I look at Trey's game, I see mistakes across the board. I'm like pulling my hair out at like the flipping and just like everything that I've seen. And then when I look at Max's game though, like Max, okay, so who Max reminds me of right now is, and like I am more familiar with Survivor winners than I am Big Brother winners, so I'll probably reference like Survivor winners. Who Max is reminding me of is Mike from Worlds Apart. Whenever he made that like huge mistake with the
The
auction,
auction.
and literally like there were 9 people left, and he had to like fight all the way to the end, and he won. And like that's Max right now because he made that huge mistake trying to backdoor Quinn, and it like backfired on him. Because I guess like Trey's vote flipped,
Yep.
which doesn't make any sense to me. But
We can talk about that
um,
in a minute.
yeah, so Max Max would have been out already if he hadn't won the comps that he's won.
Hmm.
And also, I think the hugest testament to Max playing the best game at this moment, and if he can make it to that final two, the reason he should win was last round when he had the sole vote, he took out Melody. He picked the right person to take out. That was like, that reminded me of in Aubrey from Survivor, her first season when Michelle won. I do think that Michelle deserved to win that season. The reason because when she got that advantage to take away a jury vote, she took away Aubrey's biggest ally. She picked the right person, and because of that, that's a huge move. And so, like with Max, he took away Melody at the right time, and that Melody was going to win this thing if she made it to the end. So he picked the right person to take out. Um, and if the jury doesn't see that, then that's sad. But I think Max, if Max makes it to the end, he wins right now.
Yeah, I agree. Just speaking to Abby's game, and that's a really great point. At, I can't find a whole lot of faults in Abby's game. It's kind of what you were saying. I can't find anything that she necessarily did wrong. She was on the right side of a good number of votes. She was not driving, but certainly in the passenger seat of a lot of the strategy and a lot of the decisions being made. The only time she was in the dark really was when Max tried to backdoor Quinn, and then she
Mm-hmm.
still ended up on the right side of that vote. So, like in terms of a lot of, she did a lot of things right, but I think where I have a hard time, not maybe wanting to see Abby win or thinking that she deserves to win or is the best player of the game, is she didn't have that killer instinct in those opportunities that she had to make those big moves. Like
Yeah.
when Quinn went up, I think you could say it's a big move that she was part of keeping Quinn, but she could have helped see Quinn right out the door. The Melody thing is huge to me. Um, it's it's twofold. One, I don't think I almost combined their names. Abby would have taken out Melody because I think Abby realized that she might have beaten Melody, and there might be some truth to that. But if she didn't realize that and saw Melody as the huge threat that she was, she should have put Melody on the block yesterday. Now,
Yeah.
I know that the Final Four, it's tricky and the block doesn't matter that much. It's really all about who wins that veto competition. But
Mm-hmm.
she should have at least put her marking on the move by putting Melody on the block. Um, the same result happens because
Yeah.
Max would have won the veto, used the veto, whatever, and voted Melody out. But Abby would have at least been in the forefront at the beginning to say, I'm willing to sacrifice Melody. I'm willing to take her out because she's a huge threat in this game, and she didn't do that.
Yeah. And then she would potentially have Max and be able to say like which one of us wins at this point is going to take the other one to the end.
Mm.
Because they worked together that round so close to the end. And she would have been able to convince Max that Trey was close with like John and Bradley and that Trey's going to get jury votes. And so she would have been able to convince Max. If she had done that, I'd be 100% sold on Abby's game.
And that's not to say that Abby does not stand she has a significant chance
No,
of winning.
I think if Max goes home, then like if it's between Abby and Trey, Abby deserves to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the jury will see that too, because I think that the jury will see the mistakes that Trey made so
Mm-hmm.
consistently, and that Trey was a flipper like the whole
Right.
time. And so if Abby or Trey takes out Max, then Abby should win. I just
Mm-hmm.
think that with Max still in the house, I'm a huge fan of the person that like survives to the end. I'm the always going to be the biggest fan of someone who's been in Max's situation and who like is working from the bottom to like come up and win. And that's exactly what he's done because he should have been out 3 rounds ago.
To me, right now, with the exception of this weird jury, because I don't know how they're going to vote. They're acting like they're bitter, but I think ultimately they won't be
Yeah.
like so bitter. But to me, Max has played almost a perfect game, almost. I mean, whatever that means. I mean, that's
The
so
Quinn
relative.
thing was like maybe his only like mess up and like that could have gone really good for him.
Right. And so he laid low at the beginning. He found himself in an alliance, but was still behind his brother, who was rubbing people the wrong way, being the one in the front. When Quinn was winning some comps, like Quinn was the main target, and Max hid behind him. Max went to make this huge move to turn on Quinn, which should have worked.
Should
It
have
should
worked.
have worked. Not just because John didn't use the veto on himself, but because with the way that everyone was positioned at that time, Trey was with the guys and had no reason to flip. I think that's in large part because Quinn flipped Trey. I think that was really just Quinn really worked hard to get that vote.
Yeah.
John and Max both did not, both thinking they had Trey's vote secured. So really
Which
that
is a testament to Quinn's game.
right, right. There's a lot of things with Quinn I was critical of. That was easily an all timer in terms of like
Yeah.
big moves and making and putting work in. That was phenomenal. I was very impressed. Did not expect him to pull that off. But Max should have made that big move. So in a lot of ways, that move that failed was still a big move. It shifted the house like drastically. That night
If
was
John had
wild.
just pulled himself off the block, like,
So
does he realize that he could have ruined Max's game entirely because of that?
yeah, so
Like,
let's play that out somehow.
yeah,
So John pulls himself off the block. If John pulls himself on the block,
he gets a vote.
yeah, he gets to vote. We don't even have to draw this out. Quinn goes home. Bobby
Quinn,
Layton,
yeah,
John, done. Like Quinn is gone. And then John is still in the house with a shot to have some power. Quinn is out of the game. Max and Abby and Melody maybe stay together, but that relationship is still going to be really weird, and the girls don't fully trust them. So no one really trusts anyone except for, at this point, it would have been Bobby, Layton, and John and Trey. I don't think Trey is flipping at that point. And
yeah,
all of a sudden, the power is on the other side of the house, and we could have
yeah,
an entirely different final three.
yeah. John and Max are your final two at that point, probably.
Right, because Max is going to still roll some comp wins out,
Yeah,
and John was probably going to stay in the game a lot longer.
and he could potentially have a case to win
Yeah.
because
Oh
when he
yeah.
pulls himself off the block with the veto and helps orchestrate the biggest backdoor of the season, like that's impressive. But instead, he decided to not use the veto on himself, and I know that he's beating himself up about that,
Hmm.
and so I don't want it to sound like I'm like being critical, like too critical of him. Because I bet that like at that moment he had like another idea that he just thought was the best idea in the world, um, and hindsight is 2020.
John had this idea of the game where I don't think he would ever say this, and he would have an answer to it because John has an answer for everything. But in my mind, he played as if, excuse me, he played as if he started the game with everyone's trust, and he didn't have to earn it. So not only that, but he played the game as if people owed him their trust, or like he had to test people on their trust instead of earning it and building it on his own.
Yeah,
Um, and therefore, he played this riskier, weird game socially where he was shifty with people and was like giving half truths and was trying to hide the, turning on Quinn and Max behind putting it on Trey, which wasn't necessarily what happened. And then this whole veto thing. He was like, I need to secure. I mean, I get securing Trey's loyalty by using the veto on him, but his logic was all over the place on that veto
Hmm.
decision.
Yeah. Also, okay, I mean, this is like a little bit unrelated, but I just love games like this and how quick, like, I guess, like, how quick we as guys are to, like, underestimate the power of, like, a girls' alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because historically, when you look at, like, games like this, when you look at Survivor, when you look at Big Brother, there's, like, never been, like, a all guys alliance that, like, goes to the end and
Right.
like kills it. But always there are like two specific seasons of Survivor that are two of the most legendary seasons of Survivor where the end was an all girls alliance because like they freaking killed it and
Right.
they tricked all the guys. And like I just think it's so amazing that another group, I said at the beginning I thought all the returners were going to be out like pretty early. I also thought that like Abby and Mel would probably be pretty quick targets because they were the only two girls in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the house at the final four, and these two girls who have been in an alliance since day one um, are sitting in the final four. And I'm like, that's a testament to their gameplay, but that's also a testament to how like almost stupid like we are as guys.
Right.
Like, does that make sense? Like in a game
Yeah.
like this, like when girls like get together like that, like they're smart.
Right.
They're very smart. And I like Trey should have known after playing with Abby once that Abby is good at this game.
Mm-hmm.
And now like he could be sitting with her at the final two and like he might be thinking like my biggest regret is not taking Abby out earlier because she's here.
Yeah. So I've definitely thought about this so much, especially since this Final Four kind of came to light. So, in Big Brother Hometowns history, season one was 12 people, 8 guys, 4 girls. Final Four was 2 and 2 guys and girls. Your season was 15 people, and there were Trey, Emma, Caroline, Sarah. Is that it?
Yes.
4 girls. Half of them make the Final Four. Um,
Hmm.
and then once again, 12 people, 2 girls, they both make the Final Four. And, well, it's not a guarantee that Abby's going to make the end, so we'll see if that works out. But at least in the first 2 seasons, the first season, the final two was both girls. Then we had Connor and Trey, the girl Trey, last time, and now
Hmm.
Abby's here at the final three with a shot to make the finals. So yeah, I'm very on board with what you're saying. I don't know what it is. I mean, other than like girls rule, boys rule. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I guess yeah, I don't know. Another thing I hope is that like this season, like it's coming up, like the jury is about to vote. I like, I hope that they're not bitter and that they can look past things and like recognize good gameplay, because like, I mean, like my season, like I voted for Connor to win because Connor deserved to win. He was the best player of our season. Um, Trey like had a very good social game. Like she was with everyone in the house, but Connor had the moves. Connor had, I mean, just had the resume that was there, um, and so like I voted for Connor to win because he deserved it. But like I didn't want to vote for Connor because like I was mad at him because I was out of the house because of him. Like
right,
he was one of the people that voted me out of the house, so I was mad at him. So I didn't want to vote for him. But like that would have been stupid for me to not vote for him because that would have just been me being mad at the fact that I got played and not realizing the fact that like he was a brilliant player because he
I
was. And
I
so
could
it's
not
like
go ahead.
I'm just saying like it's like get over yourself, I guess, to the jury. Like if they ever see
Yeah,
this, like
yeah,
get over yourself because like you got outplayed. It's okay. It's just the game. And at
right.
the end of the day, the relationships you form are like better than the game itself. And so like get over yourself and vote for the person who played the best game. And in my season, that was Connor. And like yeah, like I didn't want to vote for him because he like outplayed me, and like that made me like mad, but he freaking deserved it, you know?
Speaking of Connor, I know I said Connor was going to be on here tonight, but he wasn't feeling great, and so he checked out on this one. Side note, if you're
Pour
wondering
one
where
out.
Connor is, pour one
We
out for
miss you,
Connor.
Connor.
Um, yeah, the jury situation this season has been so interesting, and I have been monitoring it so closely, at least like putting a lot of thought into it myself.
Yeah. You've got
Quinn
big
was
personalities on it. Like you've got Bradley who's gonna like convince I feel like Bradley's gonna convince everybody how to vote. Like
right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I absolutely. I Quinn had this weird assumption that the jury was going to vote solely and strictly on gameplay. Now, first of all, that's so silly to assume that that's going to happen because this is a social game. So that literally evokes your emotions. Therefore, a a juror that votes strictly on gameplay is still going to be voting based on emotion and socializing because that's part of the gameplay.
yeah.
Um, so he was just thinking like, I think Quinn got a little overconfident and overestimated his own game, and then didn't take into account that the jury is the ones that decide who win. Well,
Yeah.
he literally said the words, "I don't think jury management should be a thing," and I didn't respond.
It's like the
It
thing.
it is the only thing. That is how the game is won. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Make
I
it
don't.
to the final two if you want, but jury management is the way that you make it to the final one.
I was I was on the phone with my sister, and we were talking about this exact thing, and I said that would be like me saying, "Man, I wish that in baseball there was no pitcher, like then there's no game." Like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. So I so so anyway, it's all that to say I was super concerned, really for Quinn. I think Quinn was the main person. I didn't think he was gonna win. I thought he was too big of a threat that the people were gonna take him out anyway. But if I was Quinn, I can't believe that he was not considering keeping one of Bobby or Leighton in the game, because I would have been terrified of those four boys controlling the jury, because they
Yeah.
do. They are if they four vote together, which they might not at this
Which
point,
yeah,
but they
but
very
they
well might.
probably will.
Um, then and you know, Quinn, that they didn't love you and they turned on you and they were not thrilled with you. Like, I would have been terrified of sending all four of them to the jury together to go talk more about how much they hate Quinn. Now this is going to play out differently because it's three different people in the final three, but
But it could still affect Max because I don't know if you know this, Josh, but Max and Quinn are brothers.
that what?
Yeah.
Do they have the same
Um,
last name?
Oddly enough, yeah. And also, if you didn't know this, Mel and Abby are both from Johnson City, and they know each other.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
funny because I didn't really put this together until recently, like really, but how many deep relationships were in pairs this season? I mean, I knew, but I didn't like think, oh, we have so many. Bobby and
yeah,
Leighton been best friends since they're like 10. John and Bradley have been best friends since they're like 10. Quinn and Max are literally brothers. Melody and Abby, like Melody is the godmother to Abby's baby that she's about to have. Like
yeah.
they're like that tight. And so I was
And then
just
you have like Ben and Bobby like both go to Clemson and seem
right.
like they like have that Clemson
Hmm.
connection. Like so, yeah.
But anyway,
But like, so I wonder if like I think one of the things going against Max, honestly, at this point, is that like I wonder if Max and Quinn could have separated earlier in the game and it would have helped Max. Then again, he may not be where he's at right now, but it could have maybe helped him because like I almost wonder if like the four boys on the jury when they look at Max if they're just going to see Quinn's brother and so they're not going to want to vote for him.
right. That's going to be tough. So let's play it out because
But then
if,
also John should be really mad at Trey right now.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
He should be really mad at Trey. and he should convince all those other guys to be really mad at Trey for being fake.
That is basically already happening.
Yeah.
Bradley and John have basically said that they like would not vote for Trey. So if we
The
look
winner
at
is going to be whoever takes Trey to the end,
right,
and yeah,
and so I think with Max, if Max takes Trey to the end, I think he 100% gets Abby's vote. He definitely gets Bobby's vote. They were tight. He
should get Quinn and Mel.
He should get Quinn. He may not get Melody. Melody left really salty about Max and like even said that it was going to be tough for her to vote for him. So if she can put that aside, I think it's kind of the same thing. Like get over it. Like if
Yeah.
she can, then I think she would vote for Max over Trey. And Bradley
John.
and John are saying that they won't vote for Trey. So I have to believe they would be willing to vote for Max. I think that would be harder for them to vote between those two because I think they would rather vote for Abby than Max. But yeah, I mean the winner is probably going to be whoever takes Trey to the end. Though I'm trying to talk myself into it being a I don't know which one is a tighter vote. Is it Max and Trey or Abby and Trey?
I don't know.
I don't either because Trey
Max and Abby's probably the tightest vote.
Yes, but I just don't see a situation where that's going to happen unless for some reason.
If it's Max and Abby, then I vote for the person. So if it's Max and Abby, then whichever one of them won HOH and decided to take the other ones to the end, I vote for the person who didn't win HOH, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because they were stupid and should have taken Trey to the end.
Right.
So as far as like closeness goes, so you're saying Max and Trey or Abby and Trey? Which one's closer?
Mm-hmm.
I think Abby and Trey is closer. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't. I wish I could like. I wish I could find out. But like, so here's what Trey thinks. And so Trey, if you didn't see his diary room video today, basically said that if he wins, he feels like he has a better shot against Max than he does Abby. He says he thinks that Abby's
true.
I think he's right. And so I think Max and Trey is closer
Yeah.
because of the Max Quinn association. If Melody were to flip over and vote for Trey, that's possible. Leighton, Abby could vote for Trey over Max. It's going to be really tricky. I don't know exactly where they stand. This jury is very odd, and I don't know exactly what they want. I think that what they want is to vote for no one because I think they are overly emotional about it. But I think they will eventually hunker down and vote for the person that they want to like represent the season as the winner because that's important too. Like you want the right person to win. You don't want your jury vote to go to waste.
And like sometimes it's going to come down to it where like the final two, like more often than not, like I've been in situations like this where like you are watching something like this and like the final two comes down to like two people that like they weren't your favorites.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't the people you wanted to win.
Mm-hmm.
But like one of them still has to win.
Right.
And so which one is going to be the one that represents it? Which one's going to be the one who like you put everything aside and say, like for me, I've always wanted to be the person who was like a big social game person, and I do like a social game, but at the end I love like those big flashy moves more. And so unless you've got like a really like a personality that really contrasts with mine, like if I was playing in the same season as like Bradley and Bradley was going to the end, just like based on watching some of his videos, like I feel like he would be the kind of player where like it would be hard for me to vote for him just because like he loves flexing on people. Mm-hmm. And it would be hard for me to vote for that.
Right.
And so like that would be the time where like the social game would come into play for me. But like with this final three, like none of them are like overly like confident,
right.
Like in a bad way. None of them have been flexing on everyone else. Like it's been like a respectable game from all three of them. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think it should be based more on gameplay, but yeah, I think Trey does stand his best shot against Max.
So let's try and build a case for Trey
Let's
somehow.
try.
Um, so let's really we've well documented his mistakes. He misplayed both of his advantages awfully, like just a disaster. Because if he held on to both of those, if he holds on to both of those, he saves Bradley and John and keeps them in the game at a certain point. So mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. But if he turned his game around, it actually was when he flipped and kept Quinn in the game, because I don't think that John, Bradley, Leighton, or Bobby would have ever really taken Trey deep in the game.
No,
I think they
they'd have
would have
stuck
been
with
more
each other.
yeah, I think they would have stuck with each other, maybe, but I think Trey put himself in a better position on the other side as like their savior. He's the guy that saved Quinn and saved this alliance and formed this new alliance, with all of a sudden Trey being the guy that like put it together.
Yeah.
So I
And
don't
they're
know if
already thinking about how they can pick each other apart. So they're not going to be thinking about picking apart this new guy. They're going to be thinking about taking him in and using him as the vote to help pick apart. And then a couple comp wins gets him to the end, which is where he's at. And so that's a fair case, I
so
think.
if he can articulate that, because if he gets asked questions, it's going to be about him flipping. That's
Yeah.
kind of the advantage misplays. I don't think are going to come into effect, because no one really knows that Trey had that extra vote. Everyone knows he had the extra veto and saw him use it. To really didn't. I mean, it got Bradley out of the game. It didn't accomplish much, because in that moment he should have, if he was going to use it, he should have. Well, he really shouldn't have used it. But if he's going to use it, I think he should have used it on Bradley and kept him in the game. I think he would have been a stronger ally and someone that Trey would have probably trusted a little bit more going forward. Because as we saw, he didn't trust John going forward because he flipped on him.
And
But
the extra vote could have and maybe should have worked out for Trey. Like, if everyone else on the house, I can't remember exactly. I don't remember exactly the dynamics of that, but I remember thinking when it happened, like, wow, that could have worked out for him, and that would have been cool if it did work out for him, because I would have liked the way that panned out. And I
when he
can't,
played it,
yeah, like, because I think he played it trying to save Ben.
yeah, because Ben gave it to him.
Yeah, and Ben played too hard too early, as far as comps go. If you're
Yeah.
gonna play too hard too early, make it socially, not comps. But I was rooting for that to work for Trey, and if that had worked for Trey, then it being hidden in the fact that it was an extra vote and that's hard to count would have been good for him, and so that would have been amazing if that had worked out. But
Right.
it didn't, and
Yeah,
so
and
it
so
probably
therefore-
should have. But
Right. So therefore, he definitely wasted that advantage, which he could have used down the road. But no one really knows that advantage. They know it was used. They know it was in there. They don't really know how it happened. I think that's going to be
Yeah.
things that come to light after the game's over. So it's not going to play a really effect into Trey's case. Not that he could make a case with it because he misplayed it.
he should, if he's in the final two, he should like hedge everything he can around that and make sure that nobody brings that up.
Right. All he could care about is I turned the game on its head, got myself in a better alliance, and it carried me to the end where I was never the biggest threat because
Yeah.
I stayed behind Max. Max won some competitions, but I was never the threat because of that.
Because he shielded himself the same way that Abby did, and he could use that and then use a few comp wins to maybe have that
I would have
same-
no problem with Trey winning if he can articulate that and get that across.
Yeah,
Granted, it would be the most bizarre win I could think of.
I'm here for it though.
I'm definitely here for it. This is going to be a real deep cut, but this past season of South African Survivor had
Gosh, who are you?
I know is a great. I almost don't want to spoil it for you because
Because I'm gonna watch it one day.
I want you to watch it. You should just go. I'll send you the link tonight if I can find it.
Send me the link. I'll watch it. Don't spoil it for me.
Yes, it is a weird season, but it's a really good season. Like the 2 seasons. Sorry, we're really Survivor heavy tonight. The 2 seasons
God,
of
I love
Survivor.
Survivor so much.
The 2 seasons of Survivor that you need to drop everything and watch immediately is Australian Survivor from 2017. Is maybe my favorite season of Survivor. It's
Really?
unbelievably good.
Send me that link.
It's so good. And so in Australia, their season, at least that season, it's 55 days, which is wild. There's 20. I'm like getting chills thinking about this season. It's so amazing. I'm gonna probably rewatch it. It's so good. It is
55 days.
55 days. I think there's 24. The host, his name is Jonathan LaPaglia. We love him. He's a doctor. He's an actor. I think he lives in like Los Angeles now. It's seriously a top 3 season for me.
Wow.
Like it's remarkable. And it has some weird twists, but like it is driven so heavily by the strong gameplay, the unbelievable characters. Just stop everything you're doing, watch that season. But anyway, I'm not going to spoil the other one, but like this season of South African Survivor it is weird and random in terms of the gameplay and what people decide to do. It reminds me a lot of this season of Big Brother that we're playing because it's just been weird, people making odd decisions, and ultimately we're going to have a strange winner. Like Max would be the most cookie cutter winner and would make the most sense as the winner. Like I said, he's played an almost perfect game, but if Trey or Abby wins, it's just going to be like, yeah, of course they did.
Yeah, I mean it's like when that what's her name that beat Russell in Survivor?
Natalie whatever.
Yeah.
White.
Yeah, it's like, she probably shouldn't have won, but there's maybe still a case for her to win, and it's weird, but it happened. And I think that's if anyone but Max wins, that's what it is.
And I've tried to make a conscious effort myself because I got really bad at the end of your season in like making my opinions known. That I was like, Connor has to win this game, guys. Like he has to. Like he played better than everyone. And then this season I'm like, well, there's a lot of deserving winners. And all 3 of the finalists, I think, have a case. And so I just was like, it's been telling myself, like, let the game play for itself. Like, it's interesting enough. If the winner's weird, so what? And because everyone, especially really from that jury on, and with the exception of maybe Bobby and Leighton, they all were playing hard and all could have won. And
there's been a whole cast of like amazing players this season.
Yeah, they've played really hard. These are a lot of people that I want to have play again, like for sure. Yeah. And I mean, we talk about Melody for a second. Like she just came up short.
I wanted her to win. I was rooting for you.
We were all rooting for you. She just came up short. She's in the Kelly Wentworth spot.
Oh, exactly. Perfectly. 4th.
Yeah. And so and it was the only move for Max to take her out. But she played. I told her, the first thing I did, I said, Melody, you played the best game in this house, like up to this
100%.
I think she played the best game. Like she really did kill it.
She was the brains behind everything. She had shields around her. She had the right people in her alliance.
She won a couple competitions.
Wins.
Yep.
She was literally the driving force of that side of the house. That side of the house didn't even. She convinced that side of the house that they were moving as a team.
Yeah.
Whereas it was her.
I don't know. Without jury wise, I think she probably, if she goes to the end, it's probably with Trey, and then she beats him there. But if she sat next,
she should be Abby.
If she sit next to Abby, that was going to be really tight. We were heading towards, and not that it's going to be uninteresting, but we were heading towards a really interesting, like potential jury situation with like I was like writing charts. I'm like, if these 2 people, then like these votes are here, these votes are here, these votes I don't know where they're going, and I was like, man, I was like, I'm dreaming of like what's the weirdest situation or the most interesting or tightest situation. I'd love to somehow see Max and Abby sit next to each other at the end because that of the possible outcomes
is the most interesting.
But that would require one of them to take the other one to the end, and if that happens, then they're idiots.
Yeah, whichever one doesn't win, like I said earlier, whichever one doesn't win HOH,
right,
and is responsible for making that stupid decision, I wouldn't vote for I would vote for the person that didn't win HOH.
Which, so now, since we're talking about this, and since we've talked a lot about Survivor anyway, I recently heard on a podcast someone talk about the Final Four fire making twist basically being the best of both worlds in having a final two and a final three, because now you give that person that won the final immunity challenge the ability to take someone to the end, similar to a final three situation, and then you add in so you give them that choice, and then in the fire making challenge you have two people that are likely deserving, and then there whoever comes in, it's still like a final two, because you have Wendell and Dominic that fought it out. You had Ben and Chrissy that fought it out.
It's like like Wendell, like he won the fire making thing, and it's like it's tough to pick like who you're gonna take in that situation, because it's like when you choose to send Wendell to make fire, he ends up making fire. That's impressive, and he wins. Like
right, but if he takes Wendell to the end, or if he drags Wendell to the end, then it's the
Wendell
same
wins
thing
anyway. Yeah,
it's the same thing. Everyone's like, "Wow, you big idiot! Like you had a shot to take him out," and I think Wendell would have won without the tie at that point.
Yeah.
So now you still have a potential interesting decision without a final two. I think I like the final two every once in a while, because like
make it a twist like season. Never
like
let them see it coming.
When Wu took Tony to the end,
idiot.
But that was such a testament to Tony's game. Such a testament to how well he worked over Wu, that he convinced Wu to take him to the end to give him the $1 million.
Well, and like Parvati and Amanda too. Like, I mean, whoever Amanda took to the end, Suri was going to beat Amanda in the end. Like, Suri was going to beat Amanda more than Parvati did.
Everyone for Suri.
Truly. But like, so it's like Parvati convinced like Amanda, like, hey, like, take me instead, because like Suri's going to beat you because everyone loves her, and like made Amanda actually believe that like she had a chance, and she did.
Yeah.
But then like Parv came in with those 3 extra votes, and yeah, so yeah. I like that though. Like the person you take to the end, like that says a lot about you as a player.
Yeah, and sometimes it goes either way. It's either wow, you're a big idiot, or you just took the goat to the end. So I can't imagine that Trey, or not Trey, but Abby or Max are not going to take Trey. I don't see a situation where either of them are dumb enough to do that. They've both, like, Abby's been trying to get Max out for several rounds, and Max is a smart player and knows that Abby.
Yeah, they both seem self-aware enough to do that.
So yeah, I'm excited to see this all play out. I mixed up the final HOH a little bit this time around, because I've added these Facebook Live challenges so in this one they have I guess I didn't show the videos of the last one, but in this one they have 2 toilet paper rolls with a tennis ball in the middle, and they have to like hold it like this, and like to hold it like that basically as long as they can. There's this like separate Facebook group that they get added to. They go live in the group, and they do the challenge, and that was part 1. So I kind of was able to frame the final HOH very similarly to the show, because part 1 is going to be endurance, part 2 is going to be knowledge about the game and like what happened, and then part 3 is really like the crapshooty, what did the jury say type questions, like just like they were in your seasons.
Have they already played part 1?
So Max has. Abby has not yet. Trey told me he was going to play in the morning. But I don't foresee anyone beating Max. He went for almost an hour and a half.
Wow.
So yeah. I'm pretty certain that Max is going to the part 3. But part 3 is like half crapshoot, half do you know the players on the jury. So last year on Big Brother 20 they changed it and made part 3 more a game knowledge thing, and a lot of people liked that more, but the people that argued for the crapshoot type competition made a good point to me. And because when I was listening to podcasts, I'm talking about it, I was like, okay, should I change this for mine? And they said that the fact that the final 3 HOH is a little bit of a crapshoot is okay, because that's still, you have a shot to win it. And if you lose it, yes, it's the final 3 with the biggest stakes on the line, but your game and your social game and all those things are on full display, and you have your best shot to, like, you know, talk your way into getting to the end if you don't win it. So
Yeah.
it makes everything matter.
Because you've seen what everyone on the jury is saying.
Right. So, yeah, I'm excited to get this. I'm excited to be done. I mean, it's always a little bit of relief when it's over, but
Yeah.
it's been really fun. I've enjoyed doing these. I love to. This helps me a lot for sure.
This Facebook Live group has been like like the best part. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to be part of it for my own season, but like it's been like the best part, I think, just getting to like keep up with it, because it's like I'm watching Celebrity Big Brother, but I'm keeping up with this and like just honestly just as invested in this, if not a little bit more invested, because I know these people, and so like it's been cool. Have you had
Yeah,
a lot of people sign up for season 4 yet?
not yet. I think that post kind of got hidden in the thing, so I'm glad you said that. The applications for season 4 are available. Search through the group. If not, or actually, they should be in the announcements. So if you click on the announcements at the top of the page, you should be able to find it. Yeah, apply. If you have been watching all of this nonsense and think, hey, I could do that. That sounds fun. That sounds stressful, but I think it'd be a lot of fun.
It's so worth it.
Yeah, it is worth. I fully believe it is worth your time. I will come back on here in the viewing party. I'll kick you out of it, but I will come back on these shows and I will roast your game. So will Gray, and we'll and it'll be great. I wish we had this for your season, because I would have loved for you guys to be able to come back and look
And
at all
see.
these things and just like
Yeah.
all. So I think that's going to be such a fun thing, and maybe a hard thing for some of the players, but like to come back in, and it's going to be like a time capsule in a lot of ways. Or like getting to go watch the episodes or whatever and see, like, I doubt anyone's going to go through and watch everything that ever was all posted. I think Quinn might, and Bradley might, but like, there's a lot of great content to be seen. We haven't had like a huge interaction with like people in the group, but I think that a lot of people have been keeping up and watching, which has been really fun.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
It is late. I should get ready for bed. I'm going
Yeah.
to immediately, when I get out of here, I'm going to add you to this Facebook group that I'm in, where you can get the links to watch Australian Survivor.
Okay.
It's Australian Survivor 2017. 2018 is okay, not great. 2016 I didn't watch, but I heard it was also okay, not great.
2017.
2017.
What about South African Survivor?
That there is, I'll try and find the YouTube playlist that I watched them on, if it's still available on YouTube, because it's trickier when you try and upload things to YouTube, because they don't like those things to be on YouTube, especially when they're not supposed to be.
I wish they were on CBS All Access.
I know.
Which I still have your login for, I think. I don't know.
That's okay. So does so many people. That's the funny thing. And so the network that runs Australian Survivor, the network is called 10 Play. They're owned by CBS. And so I'm surprised that there's not like an easier way for Americans to watch Australian like content. Like there's Australian there's always advertisements like on the bottom of the screen during episodes, always for the Australian Bachelor.
Oh wow.
I know, right? Thoughts on The Bachelor?
Oh my gosh. I think Cassie's gonna win it all.
Which one's she?
She's
never
a
remember
speech pathologist. Her and Colton went on that private date to that private island, aka that sandbar in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
I think she's gonna win it all. I think Tasia is one to watch. I think Onyeka sucks.
Yeah.
I love Hannah B.
Hey Ethan, glad you're watching. We're talking about The Bachelor now.
I love Hannah B. She's from Tuscaloosa, so I love her a lot.
And so Hannah B is Daniel, the guy that played in your season. He's been living with Jenny and I for the last month.
Yeah,
we think he thinks that he might be related to her. Maybe.
Interesting.
He's not sure, but he's potentially.
My roommate Will went to high school with her, and they were homecoming king and queen together.
Really?
And yeah, they've been texting like this whole time.
Weird.
And like I keep telling him to invite her over to watch with us, but he won't do it because he thinks that it would be weird. But yeah, I think she's great, and I think Hannah G from Birmingham is also really great.
I think that's who I'm thinking of, is potentially related to Daniel.
Yeah,
The one, Miss Alabama.
Well, Hannah B was Miss Alabama.
Okay,
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah, they're both great though. Yeah, so those are like my favorites, but I don't know. We'll see. I love The Bachelor. It's great.
This may be a hot take, and I've only been watching The Bachelor since I was in CDH, and that was Ben Higgins.
Yeah. He was a great Bachelor.
Colton might be my favorite Bachelor that I've seen
It's been a
because
good season.
Ben was really great, but I think Colton has a little more personality, and I think Ben's really great. But Nick was awful, and Ari was almost
Worse.
unbearable.
Yeah.
Like I liked Nick a little bit more because he was a little bit more interesting in terms of like he's a funny guy, like seems pretty like level-headed. He just kind of sucked.
Yeah. What I like about this season though is like in those seasons you said before, like Nick, he was on Vanessa from like day one.
Mm-hmm.
Ari was on Becca since like the first one-on-one, and then idiot. And then even like Ben, like you could tell. I mean, I think Ben made a mistake, and I think Ben knows he made a mistake, and he should have picked JoJo. But like he was on Lauren B since like really early on. Colton, like I can't tell what he's.
Yeah.
This is like one of the first seasons I haven't looked up the winner and spoiled it for myself.
Oh, I hate
Like,
that. Ugh, Deanna does that. I could never do that.
well, usually it's like I never like did it on purpose. It was more like I was with somebody and they spoiled it. But I've intentionally avoided spoilers. And I don't know who's gonna win. Like he has been like very well rounded.
So a couple quick things on The Bachelor while we're on it.
Yeah, I love that this has turned into this.
Yeah. So I don't know how. So our friend Parker proposed this to me about a more interesting way to do The Bachelor, because The Bachelor and The Bachelorette has gotten really samey in that the archetypes are like
the same.
And granted, Survivor does that too, but it's like they play out the same way. You have the crazy person, you have the person that's more obsessed with the crazy person than like, the Bachelor, Bachelorette. You have like these other
nerd,
two. Yeah, you have like all of these like same things that play out so similarly. Our friend Parker was like, what if they had a season where they brought 20 people on and all 20 of them, or however many, were all 100% genuinely interested in finding love? He says, I think that'd be more interesting.
I think that's what it was when the show started.
Probably.
But then Instagram happened.
Yeah.
And like now you've got like people who are coming on the show just because they want to get Instagram famous. And then you've got people like Onyeka who are blaming people for coming on the show just to get Instagram famous and saying that that's what that person said. And then you've got people like Tasia saying, oh, I was there for that conversation and that wasn't said at all. And then you've got me drinking a glass of wine like the entire night, like, oh my gosh, like this is like good content. So it's like I like the way it is now just because of that, because you get that drama. But then when you get down to the final six, like probably like all six of those people will genuinely are there because they're interested.
Yeah, we're at that turning point in the season where like the show gets really hard to watch because it's so emotional. And
like get rid of Nicole, Onyeka, Katie, Sydney, and Demi. And then you've got 7 girls left who like are all really like there for the right reasons.
Demi for me was almost on the Corinne, that was her name, Corinne path, where she started off super crazy, but then all of a sudden in my mind I was like, she's kind of got a shot at this.
I love her.
Yeah.
When her and Hannah B and Hannah G left the date this week to go back to the hotel and drink wine, I was like, that is such a mood.
Anyway, all right. I need to go to bed.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, thank you for watching. All of you are watching.
Skip
later.
that last part if you.
But if you want to know our Bachelor opinions from 2 straight white guys in their 20s,
yeah,
their target audience.
It's good. It's good opinions.
Yes. All right, I'm signing off. Be on the lookout for all the fun things. Bye.
Bye.